Unless you live under a rock, you've probably at least heard about Demon Slayer. Apparently, the new movie had the highest grossing opening weekend of any foreign film in the United States ever. Similarly, if you're even a little familiar with competitive Pokemon, you've probably heard of Wolfe Glick. He plays the official format for competitive Pokemon battles, VGC, which consists of double battles. Hello, my name is Andy, and I'm the guy that makes power scaling videos about Wolfe Glick. And today, we're gonna see how far he can make it against the demons and the demon slayers in Demon Slayer. Lord, please save me from this comment section. Before we jump headfirst into Taisho era Japan, let's get some basic Pokemon calcs out of the way. According to the Pokedex, Zeraora attacks at the speed of lightning, meaning that any Pokemon with a similar speed stat to Zeraora should also be capable of fighting at the speed of lightning. Also, according to the Pokedex, apparently, Rhyhorn can shatter a mountain. That means that any Pokemon with 85 base attack or more should also be capable of shattering a mountain. Now, this does not necessarily negate any of our scaling from previous videos, as the feats of Regieleki and Machamp were not necessarily showing the cap of their abilities, so they can scale up to this feat as well. For the purposes of this video, we will be equating special attack with attack in terms of energy output. And to make it easier, we will also be equating defense and special defense with these numbers, because obviously in order to shatter a mountain with your head, you would also need to be able to withstand the impact of that collision. Now, I find it important to point out this doesn't mean that any Pokemon with 95 or more defense just won't take any damage at all unless you hit them with more force than it takes to break a mountain. Because every attack in Pokemon has to do at least 1 HP of damage unless you are completely immune to that attack. What that means is that you probably aren't doing any meaningful damage unless you can hit harder than that. For this video, we will once again be using Wolfe's team from the European International Championships 2025, mostly because it is the biggest tournament that he's won recently, but also because I feel like it's really funny for this team specifically to go straight from demon hunting to demon slaying. To jog your memory, this team consists of Koraidon, Gothitelle, Fluttermane, Incineroar, Amoonguss, and Screamtail. We'll go over their specific attacks and abilities as they're relevant to fights, but just in case you weren't keeping up, with the exception of Screamtail, all of these Pokemon have the raw power to be able to straight up destroy a mountain or more, even Amoonguss. And Screamtail theoretically could destroy probably like a city, but it doesn't actually have any damaging moves. Now, let's take a look at the basic scaling for Demon Slayer. From what I can find online, the consensus is that the strongest characters in Demon Slayer, both the Upper Moons and the Hashira, are somewhere in the power level of being able to destroy a town based on the feats of a few characters and comparative scaling between those characters. This is kind of deeply debated. A lot of demons end up being like poisoned or otherwise impaired in their fights, and the author has stated that the human characters specifically do not surpass the limits of human biology, but this is the best that I've got. Based on what I've seen of this series, I feel like this is a reasonable calculation. That puts the characters of Demon Slayer several orders of magnitude below the Pokemon in terms of damage. But remember, every attack has to do at least 1 damage to a Pokemon. So let's look at their speed. Now, speed scaling in Demon Slayer is even more massively contested than the attack potency. I've seen people say that the characters only just barely clear the speed of sound, and on the opposite end, I've seen people say that many of the characters can move in excess of Mach 2000. The higher end number comes from calculating how fast Mitsuri Kanroji would be able to move in order to dodge the bolts of electricity being fired at her during the Swordsmith Village arc. The exact numbers are hard to come by, but a lot of the characters are simply listed as being massively hypersonic plus. And it's here where I should explain something that I only just learned today. For the purposes of power scaling, lightning is considered to travel at the speed of Mach 1282. I'm not going to open a can of worms about how that's not how fast lightning is, but since that's the speed that has been used to scale how fast Demon Slayer characters are, that is how fast we have to say that our Pokemon are. And that also puts our faster Pokemon squarely into the category of massively hypersonic plus. If we give the Demon Slayer characters the benefit of the doubt and say that they reach the highest end of this specific tier, that puts them shy of Mach 9,000. Then we could say that they're about 6 times faster than our Koraidon, our Fluttermane, and our Screamtail. Incineroar, Amoonguss, and Gothitelle only fall into the massively hypersonic tier of speed, putting there somewhere in the range of like 13 to 30 times slower than the Demon Slayers. Okay, so the Pokemon are slower than the Demon Slayers, but they're still in the same relative class of speed for the most part, so Wolf's Mons should be able to at least tag them. If we focus on the human characters for a moment, even if we're saying that the Hashira can get off like 6 to 30 attacks for every one attack that the Pokemon get, the difference in attack power and durability is so large that the Pokemon really only need to eat like 6 HP worth of damage and then hit them literally one time. We can't even say that the Demon Slayers have type advantage or anything because, as everybody knows, the elemental effects of the blades aren't actual elements being summoned, according to the author. Even if we did, like, woohoo, Kanroji can do 4 damage to Koraidon instead of 1 damage every time she attacks, with love breathing. But here's a thought, what if the Hashira did the unthinkable? What if they attacked Wolf himself? With their superior speed, they should be able to easily get past the Pokemon and land a decisive blow on Wolf without having to deal with the Mons at all, right? This wouldn't even be out of the realm of possibility, as Demon Slayers are basically trained specifically to go exclusively for killing blows immediately. And if they do that, they just win, right? Well, what if I told you that we could get Wolfe Glick himself up to numbers that surpass the Demon Slayers? Have you ever played Pokemon Legends Arceus? I could forgive you if you hadn't. In many ways, it's a pretty large departure from traditional Pokemon games. It is not, however, a spin-off. According to the Pokemon Company, Pokemon Legends Arceus is a mainline Pokemon game, and that means that anything in it is officially canon, including the Pokedex entry that I already used in this video. So, Wolfe Glick, as arguably the best Pokemon player of all time, should at least scale to the feats displayed by the player character in Pokemon Legends Arceus. In this game, your player character directly throws hands with supercharged Alpha and Noble Pokemon. This includes Hisuian Electrode, who is actually even faster than Zeraora. Your player character can straight up dodge attacks from Hisuian Electrode pretty easily. That means that the player character in Pokemon Legends Arceus can perform feats that are comparable to the feats of the Demon Slayers themselves. Let's say you don't think that's enough. Let's talk about a game, as of right now, that is unreleased. Let's talk about Pokemon Legends ZA. In Pokemon Legends ZA, you can also throw hands, albeit a little less directly, with Mega Pokemon. Now, it hasn't been confirmed to be in the game, but Mega Aerodactyl has exactly the same speed stat as Hisuian Electrode. Honestly, it would be really weird if Mega Aerodactyl was not in this game at all, considering we know there's going to be DLC where you go to other dimensions where there are even more Mega Evolutions. Why wouldn't we have all the Mega Evolutions that exist already in the game to begin with? So, for argument's sake, let's say that Mega Aerodactyl is in the game. In Pokemon Legends ZA, you have the ability to swap your Pokemon at will. This can be done fast enough to make attacks miss your Pokemon. Let me sum that up for you. In Pokemon Legends ZA, the player character can move fast enough to pull a Pokeball off of their belt, recall their Pokemon, and start sending the next Pokemon out, all in the time that it takes Mega Aerodactyl to do one attack, and that is a Pokemon that is even faster than lightning. That is absurdly fast. And honestly, it would be a roundabout way to get there, but you could try to make the same argument by just using the fact that switching out your Pokemon in a more traditional battle happens before all other things on that turn, including priority moves that move first regardless of your speed tier. Do not forget that we haven't even mentioned Fake Out, which is a move that goes first regardless of your speed tier and causes the target to not move for that turn. Okay, so Wolfe Glick is at least fast enough to be able to keep up with and dodge the attacks of the Hashira. What about his durability? Let's go back to Pokemon Legends Arceus. In this game, there's actually a hidden HP stat that the player character has, as well as hidden damage values for things the player can take damage from. The lowest amount of health that the player character can have at full health is 100, and the most damage that the player character can take from one single attack is 70. This means that on the absolute lowest end, the player character can eat an attack from a Pokemon capable of destroying a mountain and still have like a third of his HP left. At the highest end, the player character can have 200 health points, which would be at least enough to eat almost 3 mountain level attacks. Long story short, I do not think that Tanjiro is beheading Wolfe Glick anytime soon. Alright, so the human characters are out. What about the demons? Right, surely they got like nigh infinite regeneration, they have like infinite stamina, they are arguably probably stronger and faster than the human characters in Demon Slayer. Maybe they can take out Wolf, right? Even if they still fall short on the damage front, which they probably do based on the calculations, they're almost definitely fast enough to pile on enough damage to get the KO without regenerating for any attacks they take, right? A lot of the time, I think this is a solid argument you can make. But there's just one problem. One thing in Wolfe's arsenal with this team that is so strong against the demons specifically that I don't think they have a chance at all. You see, there are two things that can actually kill a demon in the universe of Demon Slayer. The first is being beheaded by an Ichirine blade. And we've seen demons become immune to being killed by this before. The second thing is the sun. Do you know what Koraidon's ability does? Koraidon's ability is called Orichalcum Pulse. Orichalcum Pulse is an ability that literally summons the sun. Only one demon in Demon Slayer has ever fully developed an immunity to sunlight, and that is Nezuko. Every other demon you can name just gets instantly KO'd by Koraidon literally touching the field. I don't think I need to explain to you that while Nezuko is pretty strong, she's not coming close to defeating Wolfe, even with an immunity to sunlight. You see, on top of probably not being outright as potent as most of the Upper Moons or the higher ranked Demon Slayers, Nezuko is unique. She is effectively on a time limit whenever she fights. She does not have infinite stamina like every other demon, and this is because she does not eat people. And instead, she goes to sleep for long amounts of time to regain her strength. I don't know how many times she can literally be blown to pieces by Life Orb boosted Terrifier Flare Blitz in the sun from Koraidon before she has to go to sleep, but I don't think it's enough times to win a battle of attrition against Wolfe Glick. So there you have it. Another anime verse demolished by the world champ difference. We didn't even have to get into very specific moves or very specific kits because the difference in power is so high and most characters in Demon Slayer just simply do not have the hacks to deal with the difference in power. The first one of these that I made was entirely an April Fool's Day joke, but I enjoy making them, and as long as you guys keep enjoying watching them, I'll be here to make them. Please make sure that you leave a like on this video, and in addition to boosting it with all of the hype points that you have, comment down below what other characters you'd like to see Wolfe Glick fight. And remember, please, to subscribe to catch all of the amazing content that I make. I do more than power scaling videos, and I promise that you will probably enjoy those videos as well. Push this video to all the people, and maybe one day we'll get Wolfe Glick himself to acknowledge our stupidity. My name is Andrew. I'll catch you guys next time. Once upon a time, man, I heard that I was struggling. Came from a gen where power creep wasn't coming in. Face long, stats tight, defense up, shack height. Sturdy on me, sash like, got the TM last night. Hit me with that good move, make the smile and act right. Bast boys, better hit that builder. I know that's right. Big Bast busting out these body presses, bout to buy a body bag and